Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Tuesday Night Live podcast from the range with your host, John G. Johnson. Hi, guys. John, the Firearms Instructor. Welcome back to our Tuesday Night Live here at the range. It's kind of quiet this evening. We should not hear much gunshots. Got a guy back there. He's working on something, but we're okay. If you can, do me a favor, comment. Let me know you can hear me okay. We had a little bit of technical problems last week, and I think we're up and running. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. About that, I think we have it working good. Let me know if you can hear me. Looks like we got Gavin24 already in the comment section. We appreciate you. We appreciate you, Chris Smith. Thank you very much. Guys, listen, wanted to tell you about our ebooks. We just put out a few more ebooks, and I wanted to give you guys an opportunity to pick up a few of these. And what we want to do is give you a discount on any of the books that we have in there. And I don't remember if you remember last week or during Christmas time, there's the ebooks there. We have 6 total. We have the Press the Trigger, Get a Grip, Why I Shoot Low and Left, 10 Secrets to a Firearms Instructor. We've got How to Aim a Pistol. And then we have the other one is, oh shit, I don't remember now. That's terrible. So we have 6 books. You hit our YouTube channel, or you can hit our web page, our website, and go into our shop, and they're there. Now you put one of those books, I don't care which one it is, it's going to be free for you. All you have to do is put the word in free book at checkout, and you can put one of these books in the cart for free. Now, if you'd like to support us a little bit, you can go ahead and add a few more books in there. We have discounted these books from $3.99 to only $1.99, and you get one for free anyway. So if you want to support us, you don't have to. That's cool. I understand. But it's a way to support us and get a 50% discount as well. These books are backed up by our YouTube channel, as well as all the information. It has great information for you to get yourself in a great fundamental. There's a stance book, there's a grip book, there's how to aim. That's the one. That's the next one, is mastering your aim. So each one of them took down the grip, stance, trigger control, sight picture, sight alignment, and put them all in ebooks. In each one of these ebooks, there is a video or something on our YouTube channel that matches up to it. The actual 10 secrets, there's 10 actual videos correlated to that book there, which is pretty cool as well. Each one of these will be beneficial for it. Some people learn by doing, some people learn by reading, some people learn by watching. You're able to watch, read, and come to the range or go to the range near you and shoot. What more ways could you do it? And it supports a small family-owned business when you purchase through our website or our YouTube channel. Each one of these will be in the descriptions below. All right, that's enough of that. So last week, we tried to put together how I got here. And I got to a certain point, and we had some microphone problems and all that stuff. So I thought it'd be kind of cool to do it again. And I'm going to go through it because I think it's a good story. And it talks about how I got from where I am to where I am now. And I think it's important that you hear it. And we're not going to get way, way deep into this. I've sort of shortened it up. We're still going to do the limited amount of time. But I thought it'd be fun. So, before we start that, though, I want to tell you about SpeakPipe. SpeakPipe is in the description below, and we're going to start doing a Q&A on our live each week. Now, any of our YouTube videos, the last couple uploads, we talked about SpeakPipe, and what we're looking for is a question from one of our people if they're having a low and left problem. I had a guy call me, text me last week on one of my videos and said he was missing the front tip of his finger, and could I give him some advice on what to do with the range? We talk about the tip of the finger all the time. Well, a cowboy don't have a tip of the finger, so we went through a whole process, and I ended up getting him to try to shoot with his finger instead of this finger. And because he's missing this finger, he sent me a picture. It's kind of weird, but it's gross. But he's missing it. There's nothing you can do about it. So he's not having a problem using the tip of his finger, but we had him try to gauge this way, and he's given us feedback on that. And that's what I'm looking to do. I'm looking to support you guys as much as possible. You may not be able to get here with me, but I'm here to be there with you. And we're putting on a lot of different stuff. I'm going to look for a group of beta guys that I could do a online training class kind of deal where we use our phones and we use some website stuff to support you in your training process as well. And we're trying to put that together. So we got a lot of neat stuff coming in 2025, and I hope you'll stay with us. It's going to be fun. All right, so let's go ahead and start like we did before. I work for a major corporation, and that major corporation drove me insane. I was a paint salesman. I sold paint for a living. And every time I would sell paint and my budgets would get up there, they'd give me something, I'd break it. They'd give me something, I'd break it. But I wasn't making any money and I wasn't happy. I had a great job. I had a company car. I was making about 60,000 a year, not including the company car. I got 28 to 32 days a year on vacation. I had a dream, but I hated what I do. And I talked to my father, God bless him, and he told me, son, if you get something, if you get a job you hate, you're never going to be happy. And if you don't work for yourself, you're never going to be happy. So my dad never worked well. My dad did a lot of stuff, but him and mom cooked a lot. They worked at churches cooking dinner and stuff like that, but they worked a lot and they did a lot of stuff. So I made a decision with my wife's blessing to look around for a second gig, some money to make. And I went out to the gun show and I wanted to do something in the gun business, but I didn't know what. And I ended up um, going to one of the Fort Myers gun shows and I found this guy who was selling stun guns. And if you don't know what a stun gun is, it's that zapping noise you hear at every gun show you go to. And physically, what happened was I met this guy, and I don't even know who he is. If he walked by me today, I wouldn't even know his name. And I don't even know if he, during COVID and everything else, I'm not sure if he's still alive. But the thing was, I've never seen him again after the show, is kind of what I'm trying to get at. And I went there and I watched this guy. And every 5 seconds, he was handing somebody a stun gun or a pepper spray, and they were handing him $20. Pepper spray, $20, all day. And I sat there and I just watched. I was like, holy cow, he's got gum, and nobody else had this stuff. So you go to a show like that, and everything's $5, $6, $800. He told me, he goes, listen, son, if you're gonna do anything in the business like this, make sure it's $20. Because everyone came out here with $20 in their pocket. They can't afford to buy a $400 gun, but they can surely buy something worth $20. And I took that and I said, man. So he kind of just opened the books, man. He just told me where to get them, how to get them, what the profit was, what they cost. He even gave me a name of a distributor to go ahead and, call this guy and tell him you want the 2 packages. And he just turned it on. So I went back and I did some studying, and we had a small show in Cape Coral, Florida. It was called the German American Club. And that German American Club show was 150 tables, not very big. So I bought 2 of those packages. And my wife and I owned a sign shop at one time. So we knew how to make it look good, fake it till you make it kind of deal. So we had shirts and we had logos and we had everything else like that. And I went out to that show and I brought, I think about $500-600 worth of stuff. It wasn't a ton of money, but at the time it was a lot of money for her and I. And then we went out to that show on a gamble, if that makes sense. So that's why I love my wife so much. She's never backed down to any of my ideas. Probably she should have a couple times, but she supports me and trusts me, and that's why I love her so much. Next year, going to be 30 years for her and I. She is my rock. She is my blessing, and thank God for her. But anyways, we go out to that show, and I sold out. I sold out. I think I had $500 in there, and I came out of that show with 1250, 1260 or something like that. They gave some discounts here and there, and the big show was coming up next 2 months, a month later. So it was like 24 days from the one show to the other show. So I invested that 12 that I made plus a couple hundred more into the Fort Myers show, and I got one table. And of course, that table was in the worst location in the world. And I went out to the show, and I just barely made $400 on that show. But I understood a couple things at that show. One table wasn't enough, it didn't slow them down fast enough. And we needed to get a little bit more inventory, so it was part of that deal. And I did have a little more competition at that show than he had the last time we were there. And I looked for that guy, never found him again. So at that point in time, it started adding up to me that I need to find a product that I could sell that was different than everyone else's product, because we were all buying from the same company. We just packaging was a little different. We did combos. I always did mine pepper spray and stun gun together. That's before they packaged together. They used to not package them together. And I started out, and I started doing the shows, and I had a company car, so I really didn't have the gas issue. And I did a lot of shows that from Tampa to Orlando to Fort Lauderdale, and I just West Palm, and I just went to all these shows, and I started making some serious money. When I talk about serious money, I'm not talking crazy money, but for a guy that's starting out this business, we were doing somewhere between 2,500 and $3,000 every weekend doing these things. And it was kind of fun, and it worked out pretty well for us. And we just started upgrading and upgrading and upgrading. We started bringing the accessories of a gun store. We didn't have the guns. We didn't have a license to sell guns. We sold bags and earmuffs and eyewear and just get the marketplace and pocket knives and safes and just all kinds of stuff. We cleaning kits, and we just started moving a lot of product. And as we got going, we got more tables, and this led to that. And then I got a deal with a manufacturer in China. And this was the next investment deal I did, was I bought $5,000 worth of China's stun guns direct from the manufacturer and had them shipped into America with my personal logo on them. Personal Defense Depot is what it was called at the time. And when I did that, I was getting those stun guns for about, and they were a stun gun flashlight. And so it was kind of cool, unique, not a boxy thing. It was a flashlight and had little sparks on the top of it, and then had a strobe light and all that stuff. And that physically got me another 2 or 3 years of just doing that. And I personally had the best deal in the house because I was buying them direct. I wasn't truly a wholesaler. I was a I actually was able to sell these stun guns to guys there at the show and still make money and give them room to make money when I wasn't doing a show in a certain area. I would let them buy them for me and sell them at that shows. So it kind of worked in favor there, and I ended up meeting a gun store in Cape Coral that was a mom and pop, and they started using our pepper spray and our stun guns, and we just built a relationship. And when it worked out that I got sicker and sicker and sicker of the paint business, I went to them and said, "Listen, I'm thinking about doing something different. What do you think about?" And at that point in time, they were moving to a bigger shop. And when they moved to a bigger shop, it was at that point that we went to work with them, and I became their instructor. Now, during the midst of all that stun gun stuff, I ended up getting my NRA instructor's license, and I had that. I think that was 2013. I got my instructor's license, and that was a unique thing. I was in a class with a bunch of Black Hawk guys and guys that were overseas a lot, and they had to get their instructor's license to teach the people in Iraq to shoot and shit like that. So it was kind of fun. Went to Orlando, got that license. Then I came back, and there was a little shop around the corner from where my house was, and I needed a warehouse for all the stun guns because my wife was sick of them being in the house. So I made a little warehouse, and in that warehouse, with your instructor's license, I could do concealed carry classes. And that kind of brought my whole track around to becoming a concealed carry license trainer. And I had a little office, and I would do classes every Wednesday night. And I would advertise them through Facebook and other places like that. And I ran that for a while, working at the gun store and working for myself and doing gun shows. Man, I was working 7 days a week, but I was working for myself at the time, and it made all the sense in the world. And when I worked at the gun store, I I was doing 40 hours there, and I was doing training classes, and I was doing the gun show on the weekends, and I probably did for 4 or 5 years. I did 7 days a week basically, uh, gun shows on the weekend, and somewhere I had a gun show somewhere. And that got to a point, it got old, and I decided to stop doing the gun shows and just focus on the training. And I started doing that. And we did open a sort of We Come to You concealed carry classes. That was kind of fun. We got that going for a while. And then we get down into 2019 or so. I get a call from the guy who owns the gun range here in where I'm at now. And he physically was a guy who owned this. It's a big circle, right? The guy who ran the gun shows at Cape Coral ended up owning this range. Now, I knew Tommy for a long time, but Tommy passed away, and Tommy's mother knew the guy who owned this building and asked him if he would like to purchase it. Well, he ended up purchasing it, and the gun range was already here. It was grandfathered in. It has five. We have 5 lanes in the back, and the guy who owned the building had called me because he saw I was doing a big class at the bingo hall down the street. One of my friends owned that bingo hall, and it was a November class, and it was, I think we had 44 or 45 people at that class for a you know concealed carry class. Here in Florida, shot requirements aren't as tedious as other places, so we were able to finish everything up here. And bingo, it all turned out perfectly. And that next day, he contacted me and said, "Hey, will you come down and look at the range? I want to see if we can work something out." And we went up there Tuesday night, Heidi and I, and the guy he said, "What's your concept? What's your thinking?" And I told him I was wanting to do training classes, and I wanted to get my gun license, and I wanted to do this, and you know, this is all the things I wanted to do. And he goes, "That sounds good. That sounds perfect. That's what I'm looking to do here." And I said, "Well, my only problem is I got pretty much a low. I don't have a lot of money down." And he said, "It's all right. We'll work it out." And God helped me in many ways, and was able to allow me to give him a percentage of what we do here until we got to a point where we could give him a deposit and then start leasing the building. And it all started in 2019 with the ability to start the classes. Then we went into COVID time, and COVID killed a lot of businesses, but for us, being a gun store, a gun range, we were essential. My wife and my son, my oldest son, Johnny, and Johnny worked for us for a while here at the store. Johnny was a teacher, and and then Heidi was a teacher, and Jacob worked at Publix. So Jacob wasn't even working here at the time. So in that scenario, I ended up trying to get this thing off the ground. I needed other income besides this, so I went to work for Home Depot from 9 o'clock to 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 6 a.m., 9 p.m. to 6 a.m. unloading trucks, as well as having a flea market booth selling all the original stuff we used to sell, uh, and selling We Come to You concealed carry classes. And we did that for almost a year and a half, trying to get it to a point where we could physically afford to leave my income that I wasn't working. It just was one of those deals that it worked out for us. Then we got into that COVID time in Home Depot. God bless them. They had a couple things during the time when they were sure that maybe Home Depot was going to, maybe they didn't know who was going to be closed down or not closed down. And what they ended up doing is they gave everybody there PTO of 40 hours that could use any time. But if you used it and the store got shut down, you would not be paid during the time the store was closed. And they gave all part timers this now. So 40 hours for me was 2 weeks. Now, 40 hours for me would have been, I was working 20, so yeah, it'd be 2 weeks, right? So they came back, and when they did that, about 25% of the company, Home Depot, that worked in Cape Coral, but 25% of them went on vacation. Company didn't think that through very well, so we lost a lot of people. So a lot of us stayed to help out, and because we were low staffed at that point, because they gave them the time, but they couldn't say no to them on the calendar. So they all took it off at the same time. They all did it, right? All the young kids and all the other stuff like that. So to reward people who didn't take the time off, they gave us another 40. So now that's almost a month, right? For me. And then they came back because of what was going on. They looked at people with um, chances of catching COVID and still working, and they compensated us more. And one of the things on there was being obese. Now that's one time I got paid for being fat, guys, and they gave me 20 hours, another 40 hours for that. And then during one of the things they did, they gave another 40. So I had almost 2 months of time backed up with them that I had not taken the time off, and they were paying us crappy anyways, but it was still money in the bank basically for me. And then I told my wife, I said, "Well, now it's time. I've got this I've got this stuff going. I got my license to sell guns in 2021, I think. Yeah, 2020, I think, or 20. That was the first license. I already renewed it again. And then from there, we just started working and getting classes and getting the website up and getting the YouTube channel going and getting all this stuff working out the best we can. And it's been going like that for a long period of time. I can tell you, I learn more from my students uh, than I that I know. It's always a very cool thing to take someone who is new to shooting or never shot before and then get them in a position where they feel comfortable to go shoot it by themselves. And we do it on a regular basis. So it's kind of a cool feature for us. So what are we doing now? We're doing the YouTube channels. We're doing training almost every day. We're open 7 days a week. My oldest son, Johnny, left us, and he's actually a painter, and he paints new construction houses. And that's funny loop, right? I worked in the paint business. He's a painter. So that was never thought in our mind that would happen to him. But he got a great boss and is a young man, and they've got a lot of business, and he's doing well. He's actually engaged to Hillary, If you ever watched one of our YouTube channels, I did a full video with Hillary and I doing a training class. And Jacob, my youngest baby, he's still working with me. He always will work with me. He loves this business. He's very good when it comes to customer service. I do most of the training myself. We do 2 to 4 classes a day, and on top of that, we have an open range, and we're doing all the fun stuff. It really God works in mysterious ways if you really think about it. From working at a paint store to working at Home Depot to getting this to a point where uh, we're feeding our family, sometimes barely. Being self employed is not easy, I'll tell you that. But it's the best thing that's ever happened to my family and myself. And as we get further along, I get to meet people like you. We would like to get this YouTube channel as well as the lives and all that stuff becoming part of a liquidity. I mean, we do it. I make some money on it. I think this month it looks like we're gonna make 150 or $200 on it. There ain't a lot of money in the ads. Uh, Besides the point of being a gun thing, and we're not top priority for these guys. Um, but the books and all that other stuff, the workshop and the shop on YouTube, doing the memberships, doing the other stuff helps us out tremendously. You guys telling people about this, it humbles me each week to realize that I've got 9 people sitting somewhere watching me. It means a lot to me. Um, I try to treat everyone like family. I think if I were to do it all over again, I don't think I'd change much, to be honest with you. I think it would be, I think we'd be here at the same thing, doing the same thing. I was very fortunate, very lucky. Uh, this year has been weird as far as the summer was tough for us, but summer was tough for everybody. I don't know. The economy's got a little whacked in there, but I'm concerned that people are looking at Trump and saying, "Hey, he's going to solve everything." I think the chasing of the illegal aliens is going to cause a lot more uh, threats than we can think of, and I'm concerned that people aren't looking at that factor. Getting firearm, becoming your first line of defense is so important. You need to really really make sure you have everything tightened up, uh, and be prepared. You know, the world is hopefully going to change to the best. If we can get that pipeline opened up and start getting the energy independence again, I think that will solve a lot of the issues in the world today, because we are really, really, really dependent on foreign oil, which is no reason to be when we have the ability to drill, baby, drill. So let me look at some of these comments here. All right. So Gavin24, let's go, he says. Chris Smith says yes. Marcus J, hello, John the Firearms, hello. Chris Haas, hey, hey, loud and clear. Definitely better than last week. Yes, sir, Chris. Yes, sir. Chris Smith is in Orlando, Florida, Mickey Mouse Town. Oh, that's cool. That's cool. Bear, how you doing, buddy? How's mom? How's everything? I hope everything's going well for you, buddy. Jim, my pal, how you doing? Him and his wife came from Vermont to Disney World, and Jim had made a decision, and his wife agreed that he's going to come see me. And he drove from Orlando to here to see the studio, see the range, not expecting much of anything. But Jim didn't realize when he got here, I put him and his wife through a little training class. And I didn't charge him or anything else like that, because he had already spent that time to go to Vermont and Jim's crazy about Mickey. So for me to take presents over Mickey, I was pretty proud of that. So it was kind of one of those deals. Jim, I hope you and your wife are doing really well. I hope you had a great Christmas and everything else like that. Okay. Uh, oh, thank you. He says, Angelo. Angelo says, nice story. I was an actor and a filmmaker. Now I sell bagels. But are you happy? Are you happy selling bagels? There's the question, right? We can be anything we want to be, but can we be happy when we do it? And that's the important part, guys. That's the important part to get to. We can do everything we want to do. We can have these jobs and go do all the stuff. And he says, I am. Way to go, Angelo. Way to go, buddy. You may not be the richest man in the world, but you're happy. And what's that worth if you think about it, right? What's that worth, the happiness that comes through you? A lot of people come for the range for a lot of different reasons. How many of you go to the range to just take some stress off? Now, I can't do that because I'm here, you understand? You know what? You're right, buddy. That's one of the most scariest things you can do. Angelo says, but owning your own business is scary too. It is, buddy. It is. Chris Smith says, amen. Amen. It is a scary thing. But would you want to go back to work? Could you go back? That's the thing, honestly, right? Now think about this. I've been employed. I've worked for Fortune 500 companies. I've sold paint, millions and millions and millions and millions of gallons of paint. I've worked my I worked my butt off. I've done work for myself. Could I go back and punch a clock for somebody? It's almost impossible. Does that make sense? You make your own schedule, you do your own thing, and to go back in and answer to, and punch a clock, go back. You know, my problem with working at Home Depot, I work with a bunch of kids that had no drive. So I'd go to Home Depot. I'd start at 6. I'd start at 9 p.m. and it'd work all the way to 6 a.m. And I realized I got all my shit done by 4 a.m. and I'm running around the damn place helping the kids put shit away. And they've been bullshitting all night, and the bosses are letting them. So I realized very quickly I had to take control of this thing. So I told the guy I worked with at the time, I said, I'm going to work all the way till 2 o'clock. I don't need the 20 breaks you guys are giving us each night. I know I have to take lunch legally. I have to take lunch. I have to clock in and clock out for an hour. That's legal. I understand that. But I don't smoke. I don't need to go outside and sit on a chair for 15 minutes. And I don't need to do that 6 or 7 times tonight. I just need to do my work, and when I'm done, I'm out. And he goes, well, what about other people? I go, well, the other people need to work. You pay them to work. They don't need to walk around and do other stuff. And at the end of it, when I get my shit done, you have me go help this kid who's been walking around all night. And at that point in time, I kind of realized that they needed me more than I needed them because I spoke English and the rest of the people did not. So at that point in time, it became so easy for me to say, okay, I leave at 2. That's when I leave. And I checked out every night at 2. And I didn't stay till 4. But if I had my stuff done, I did not leave until it was done. But if I was done by 2 p.m., I went home because I worked other jobs. And there's no reason to stay till 6. And most people all night, even those kids that didn't get their stuff done, at 5 o'clock, they made us push brooms all until 6 p.m. So there was no work being done from 5 to 6. It's broom pushing. And I don't need to push a broom. I'm too old for that. I'm too old for the push broom. I got my shit done, I'm out. And that's kind of the way I played it with them. And that's what made it so difficult to work any place like that. So we have a lot of stuff coming this year. I am going to tell you a little bit about what we've got. We got more ebooks coming. They're always going to be the first one free, and they're always going to be $3.99. We don't charge a lot more than that. But right now, those ebooks are 50% off. So if you buy one of those ebooks, you only get it for $1.99, and it helps support the store, helps support myself. And poor Jacob needs shoes. So years ago when I worked at the paint store, I'd always tell the painters that were buying everything from him, my babies need shoes. my babies need shoes. And one time we had a painter's pro show, and I had my wife come down with the babies. And this is back when Johnny was probably 5 and Jacob was 4. I mean, they're 14 months apart, but and she brought them in this cute little outfits, the suspenders and all kinds of cute stuff. And I mean, they had the cute little boots, and I made them take the boots off and take the shoes off and make them walk barefooted. So when all the painters walked around, that one guy in the back, look, his kids are barefooted. I said, that's right. You guys need to buy something tonight, 'cause I can't afford to put shoes on these babies. And they were all giving me a bunch of hack for that. So it was kind of one of those fun deals. So we're going to work on that beta deal. I think that's going to be fun. That's going to help me put together a program for people. All you really need, and this is the cool thing, is you need a tripod of some kind, small tripod, and your cell phone. You'll go to the range, you'll shoot, you'll figure out what you're doing wrong or finding something, maybe trigger pull or something like that. You'll videotape yourself, you'll videotape your target, and then you'll send a copy of that in to me, and you and I will go through a one-on-one analyzation of your target and give you some advice on what to do and how to solve it. It's going to be like your own little fire instructor on your phone, which is kind of one of those things. It's going to work good for us. We're going to put together a program with that, as well as a beta test to see how it's going to work for you. And then obviously, most people have cell phones, and most people have a small little tripod like that. So it'll make it easy for you to see. I did a lot of videos a while back called the Shot Doctor. I don't know if any of y'all saw that, but I did take targets from the range over the weekend, and I would identify what I thought was going on with the student. I would know who was shooting, so I just look at the target. And Johnny put me a stethoscope around my neck, and we took a doctor's body and put my head on top of it and called it the Shot Doctor. It was a lot of fun, but we were able to analyze the target and tell people what they were doing wrong. So we're going to take something similar to that and work it through. We're going to add the Q&A section to the live. I think this will be fun. We'll do about 30 minutes of a topic, whether it be a pistol or a review of a pistol or anything else like that. And then we'll bring in the Q&As. And this will be people asking questions in regards to maybe why am I shooting low and left, or what can I do to solve this problem? Like the guy contacted me about missing the tip of his finger. He never even thought about using his other. He was trying to engage the trigger with this and get his hand way around. He was causing him a lot of pain, and he wasn't very comfortable with that. So having the ability to use his mid finger here allowed him to control the weapon a lot better. So I think that's going to be something we'll do as well. The Q&A section is something I want to do, and that's with SpeakPipe. Now, SpeakPipe is going to be in the link below, and all you do is click on it, and you get 90 seconds to give us a question. And at the 90 seconds, we're going to get those. We're going to look at them. And as we go, we're going to have to not do every one of them because we get too many of them. That's going to be good for me. But we'll post them through our live. We may not be able to do every one of them every week, but at least we'll be able to do a couple to get us through the Q&A section. I like to have the Q&A section, a little bit of this, and then answer any of you guys' comments, questions, or concerns over the weekend and everything else like that. Question for you guys: who went to the range this week? Comment below. Let us know who went to the range and how many rounds did you shoot and how did you think you did. That's kind of one of those things we ask. All right, it is about 40 minutes in. I think we're going to take this to 50 minutes, and we'll get 10 minutes here to bullshit around a little bit. But I'd like to go back and talk to Eric. Gavin, are you new? Have you been to the live before, sir? If you're still on. Obviously, Chris Smith, Marco J, Chris Hawes. I've never heard of him before. Hey, Chris, how you doing, buddy? I'm glad you're here. Chris is Jones, and he bought an AR, and he doesn't have his concealed carry because he's lazy and he never got there and got it done. Now, he has all the paperwork and documentation. He just never spent the time to get it. So he bought something and had to do a 3-day wait, even though he's taken a concealed carry class and he has all the documentation and paperwork. And I promised him I would help him get his permit and help him do everything he needs to do, but he keeps slacking off. So this is Jones in him to wait this long to use his AR. Well, honestly, he shot it yesterday. He comes to the range. He's on his weight, but that's the one good thing about buying from us. You can still shoot your gun because it's in the safe back here. So it kind of worked out for him. Oh, Joe Fernandez, how you doing, buddy, from Puerto Rico? I'm glad you are here, sir. Thank you very much. What's your website? Okay, it's John the Firearms Instructor on YouTube, and it's Firearms Training by JohnGJohnson.com. I know it's a mouthful, but it's Firearms Training by JohnGJohnson.com. That is Chris Smith. That is the website. Angelo, are you new here tonight? Have you been on here before? I don't remember you. Okay. First time. I have a class tomorrow. Okay, cool. Awesome. Well, wait, the local guy. All right, Gavin. That's awesome, buddy. I know what you're trying to do, and it's working. Chris, you know I love you, buddy. You just got to get it done, pal. You're off all day Wednesday or Thursday. One of those days. Just make your appointment and get it done. Then I won't have to holler at you and embarrass you in front of all your associates here. Well, he's going to be mad at me tomorrow. No, he's not. Because, Chris, both your red dots came in. So you have to come in and we'll have to figure out exactly which one you want to put on your weapon. That is awesome. Well, guys, I had a great New Year. I don't know if you guys did. I had a great Christmas. I got this. My wife made me this. It looks kind of girlish, but it's got my name on it, and she made one for each one of the family members. I haven't broke it yet, and she's supposed to make me one that says Heidi and John on it, but she made one with John on it. She's all crafty like that. She's on to sewing right now, so we're buying a bunch of sewing stuff. She was doing crochet for a while. Boy, that woman. And she crafts. She does scrapbooking, so there's a lot of positives. But that's what she loves. That's what she does. And I'm happy about it. Beyond that, she got what she wanted. I ended up getting her. What did I buy Mom for Christmas? I don't remember. It was something she really wanted. And I got it for her way before it was time. Oh, yeah. There's a scrapbook box she wanted, and at the time they were on sale. She couldn't get one because we were limited funds for certain things or another, and all of a sudden, her girlfriend, who runs the scrapbooking place, ended up getting a bunch of these carts, and I was able to pick one up. She didn't know anything about it, so it was a pretty good deal. Unfortunately for her, her birthday is the 24th of December. So Christmas Eve for us is her birthday, not not Christmas Eve. And then we ended up spending some time with my in-laws. All right, here we go, Chris. Chris has a question. I'm trying to get better with my Micro 9 Hellcat OSB and the SIG 365 and the Taurus X GX4. I shoot full-size CZ POLs, PO1s, CZ 10s, and Glock 19s, and Bursa Thunders. Well, I can tell you, Chris, a lot of times those smaller pistols are going to have unusual triggers on them. I'm not a and I'm not cutting them down or knocking them down, but when you talk about trying to get better, are you missing high and right, low and left, down? That makes all the difference in the world. And I'll kind of explain to you the best way I can while you're commenting. A lot of times it's about how that gun fits your hand. When you talk about your Glock 19, that's a double stack weapon. It fits in your hand a little bit better, and maybe your tip of your fingers only being used on that trigger. But when you have a smaller gun like the Micro Hellcats and the 365X, your finger goes further in, so that may cause a lot of the issues of trigger manipulation. I would tell you, I would get into dry firing, and I don't know if you know much about dry firing, but basically there is a ability just to get the trigger back and feel how much creep you have in the pistol. When you have creep in the pistol or creep in the trigger, that trigger travel makes so much difference on how much pistol or how much trigger we're using on the gun. If you take a rubber pistol or anything else and you begin to slowly engage that trigger, you want to almost think about the shot surprising you, sir, instead of you knowing the gun's going to fire. And this is going to help tremendously get the travel or how much travel the trigger has to come back before it engages. Most people who are having problems with smaller pistols, it may be trigger, most likely. It could be grip. There's a two thumbs forward grip we talk about all the time where you wrap your fingers through. If you're burying a thumb, if your grip looks like this and you're burying your thumb on the thing, you're pushing against the weapon itself. When you put thumb on top of thumb and then wrap your fingers like this, you're going to have less manipulation of right or left on the pistol. Remember, proper grip starts with your non-dominant hand with the three fingers and your non-dominant hand with the four fingers, and they wrap into each other just like that. And then when you push that gun out in front of you, you're going to control the press a lot better than anything else. If you are engaging the trigger and they are hitting low, you want to think about trying to press the trigger straight back into your hand and not put too much manipulation or pulling of the trigger. If you really think about it, I should shoot the pistol and be surprised of the shot. And this is very challenging people who shoot an awful lot. If you're taking all these weapons to range at one time, that could be an issue too, because you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 different triggers, and they're all going to be different, and they're all going to shoot a little different. So what I would work on is take the top three, the micro, the 365, and the Taurus, and get into a 5-round count drills, which are on my YouTube channel, and just get comfortable and slowly pressing the trigger. If you want, you could download or look at the line drill, which is on our YouTube channel. That line drill is pretty simple, guys. It's putting a black line directly across a white piece of paper, and make sure the black line's in your line of sight, and push that target out to 3 yards. And then get your weapon, get your proper grip, get your stance, get everything you need to do that you think you're doing well. And then I want you to slowly engage the trigger and try to hit that black line. You should be able to hit that black line or just slightly above that black line if you have proper trigger engagement. If you do not have proper trigger engagement, guess what that bullet's going to be? Below the line. And if you're impacting below the line, then you're doing some trigger manipulation, or you've got the gun lower than your line of sight. And if you're looking over the gun to shoot the pistol, that becomes a problem too. We need to make sure the gun's in our line of sight, and don't use our wrist to aim the gun. We use our waist to aim the gun. And that'll help you tremendously figure out what's happening on the impact. Am I pulling the trigger or am I pressing the trigger? And those little challenges will help you tremendously become better. No, technically, if you're shooting fast, Duke maybe he asked a question here. Hope that helped you, Chris. Should I let the trigger surprise me if I want to shoot fast? No. Here's what I'll tell you. What are we talking accurate? If you're going to shoot fast, you're not expected to put the bullets on top of each other. If I took a 6-inch paper plate and put it out at 5 yards, and I shot fast and they were all on the paper plate, I would be super happy and perfect on that. And you're not going to be able to be surprised on those shots. What I'm talking about surprise shots is when you're working on the small manipulation drills, like a one-shot drill. When you're engaging, we all been there, right? We go out to the range, we put the gun out in front of us, and there we are with the trigger in our hand, with a gun in our hand, and we are aiming at a spot on a white piece of paper. This is simple stuff. But if you're aiming at a spot on a white piece of paper and you cut the shot and that bullet is below where you're aiming, then you've done some manipulation of the weapon. If you hit at the hole or just above the hole, then you engage the trigger properly. I hope this makes sense. We're aiming at the center of the target, it hits just a little bit below the target, then we did some manipulation, whether it be in our wrist, in our trigger grip, or in our control. If we're there level, it's going to be level. You keep a pistol level, engage it level, it's going to shoot level, period. All the manipulation happens with over gripping, over torquing, over slapping, over rotation of the wrist. There's a lot of different stuff you do. But if you're going to the range, your first 10 shots should be a slow, consistent press and let that shot surprise you. After that, you can begin to build the speed up. There is a thing, speed versus accuracy, and there is a distance that we can get to. We want to work at the defensive distances of 3, 5, and 7 yards. Those need to be rocket science. You shouldn't have any problems with it. You shoot muscle memory. And then we start getting past 7 yards is when we need to start making sure we're really controlling the weapon. That's when you start getting the lower and lower shots. You've got an 8-inch paper plate. You should be impacting in the center of the paper plate. But the only way to impact the center of the paper plate is to aim just below the center, because that bullet does not fly in a straight line. It flies in an arc. And you got to kind of work this thing out to visually see what's happening there. Hope that helped you guys. Thank you, Duke. Duke, you're new? I haven't heard your name before. I'm glad you're here, Duke. Thank you very much. God bless you. All right, guys. Well, that's a couple good questions. I appreciate that very much. It is 54 minutes in. It is Tuesday night, and you know what Tuesday night means. It's taco night. So we're going to stop by and get some tacos and go ahead and get home and watch some TV and get ready for tomorrow. Now, Duke, I have seen that. I've seen that. Yeah, he's responded a couple times to our YouTube stuff there, Duke. I've seen that before. Charlie Brown. That's cool. Well, any questions for me before we head out? If not, I got 3 things for you. God bless. Be safe. And remember, you are your first line of defense. We'll see you next week, God willing, and we'll have another topic. If you're looking to get any information at all or ask us a question, check the links down below where there's SpeakPipe link there. Check in any of the descriptions of our YouTube channel. If you haven't visited our YouTube channel, please do, because there's a lot of information on there, a lot of good video drops we've been doing lately, and it's a lot of different stuff that will help you become more proficient and more confident, and with confidence comes accuracy. We started this channel many years ago to motivate, educate, and entertain, and I hope I do that. And if you do find something that is you like it and you want to share it, we love you to do that. And if you'd like to go ahead and do all the fun stuff of the buttons and the subscribe and all that, you surely can. Obviously, you just being here means the world to me. Until next time, I love you guys. Good night. God bless.